I've had a lot of names on fasting. I've heard about bone broth fast. I've heard about Jewish fasting. I've had somebody telling me I fasted for 40 days. Then I asked them, 40? Hey, are you Jesus? Then I asked them, what have you been doing in 40 days? No food at all? They tell me, no, I've not been eating any food, but I've been doing Jewish fasting. Just blend my juices and I drink it for 40 days. Oh, amazing. Amazing, right? I also hear of fat fast. I'm fasting for the fat. I've seen people saying that there are diets that actually mimic fasting. So you can actually eat and at the same time you're mimicking fasting. So you're eating and fasting at the same time. Aye! So what is fasting? People confuse fasting with starvation. Fasting is basically voluntary. You've decided that I'm not going to eat. So fasting is not eating, but it's voluntary. That's the major part that you should know. So when you say start fasting, we're saying, please, you have food, you can afford food, but we're saying, say, thank you very much. Today I'm not eating. I'm deciding to go on no calories at all. So fasting is taking in 0 calories. Therefore, when you say I'm doing a fast on bone broth, you're lying to us because you're eating. When you tell us I'm doing a fast on juices, or cabbage juice, or fruit juices, you're taking in calories, therefore you're not fasting. When you tell us, you know what, I am doing diets that actually mimic fasting, you're lying to us. Okay, so don't tell me I fast with juice, I fast with bone broth. You actually broke the fast. We use bone broth to break our fast. So if you're fasting with bone broth, you're not fasting, you're eating, because bone broth actually has every single nutrient. It has carbohydrates, fats, proteins, minerals, and calories. Therefore, you cannot lie to us that you fasted on bone broth. That should be understood. 0 calories. Number 2, what are the types of fasting? Today, I'm just going to answer those questions because I've received these questions over and over again. Every time I put out that you're fasting this weekend, I will have these questions. This is another question. I have ulcers. Can I fast? Thank you so much. I've captured that. I'll answer it. Is type 2 diabetes reversible? Thank you very much. It is reversible. Good. So what are the types of fast? I understand there's a myriad of fasts. There's a lot of people coming up with these fasting schedules, and some of you call it intermittent fasting. Some of you call it intermediate fasting. Okay, so there's a lot of confusion. It's actually intermittent fasting. Now, we have that intermittent fasting, which basically means you eat at specific times and then you take a gap of not eating and not taking in calories and you eat again. I've had a lot of names on fasting. I've heard about bone broth fast. I've heard about Jewish fasting. I've had somebody telling me I fasted for 40 days. Then I asked them, 40? Hey, are you Jesus? Then I asked them, what have you been doing in 40 days? No food at all? They tell me, no, I've not been eating any food, but I've been doing Jewish fasting. Just blend my juices and I drink it for 40 days. Oh, amazing. Amazing, right? I also hear of fat fast. I'm fasting for the fat. I've seen people saying that there are diets that actually mimic fasting. So you can actually eat and at the same time you're mimicking fasting. So you're eating and fasting at the same time. Aye! And the easiest intermittent fast is the 16-8 intermittent fast, which basically means skip your morning breakfast. Underline the word morning breakfast. When I say breakfast, I mean you're breaking a fast. When I say morning breakfast, is that food that you eat in the morning with your family. You sit down on a table and you eat in the morning. That is morning breakfast. Is the most useless meal of the day. Run away from it. So when you push that first meal to around noon, again remember, your body does not understand. Okay, your body does not understand at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It doesn't. Your body knows the first meal of the day and the last meal of the day, and the gap between meals. It doesn't know you. This is morning, this is breakfast, this is lunch. So I took brunch and I combined breakfast and lunch. No, your body does not understand that language. Okay, so stop labeling foods or diets with these fancy names: breakfast, lunch, and supper, brunch. Sometimes brappa. So brappa is combination of all. So listen. So first meal of the day, make it come in at noon. Why? Because in the morning, the body is busy preparing you for the new day. So it's pumping glucose into the system. The liver had stored glycogen from the meals that you ate the previous day. Remember, you need 6 to 8 hours for you to digest, to absorb, to store this energy in the liver, and then thereafter you start releasing it into the system. And this happens in the morning. So you start releasing the energy in the system through something called the biological cycle or the biological clock. It's called the circadian rhythm. Some people call it, possibly in people who have diabetes, we call it the dawn phenomenon. So in the morning, we are pumping glucose into the system to prepare you for the new day. Therefore, eating in the morning means every energy that was stored in the liver has to be converted into fats and pumped into the fat cells for storage. What does that mean? You start adding weight for no good reason. You will just put on so much weight because you're creating a dump site into the system. But remember, your body was designed to be very clever because fasting is a survival mechanism. So the body was actually making sure that it's storing this energy so that one day you get to utilize it. But I want you to look at yourself eating 5 meals a day. So when will you ever burn what you've stored in the stores? You're constantly storing. You never find a chance to burn. And the body is designed, you eat so that you burn. But you always eat. Even before you digest food, you're pumping these foods which are undigested into the small intestines. So you are suffering from constipation, indigestion, and all these IBS conditions, and even the SIBO, because you're constantly pumping food that has not been digested completely into the small intestines. So how can you lack the gut problems? You need to give your gut time because it's actually a machinery. It's doing work. So it's all these peristalsis motions that are happening there, a lot of energy being spent. It simply tells you that the gut needs time to rest. Once it has rested, now you can bring in new food. And that's how it's supposed to behave. Stop eating every time. Push your first meal to noon and then give yourself about 6 to 8 hours. So your second meal comes in earliest 6:30 p.m. and latest 8:30 p.m. so that you also have another 1 hour or 2 hours to be in bed so that you can get your sleep. And remember, we talked about sleep cycles. So the biological clock starts releasing these hormones that regulate sleep at around 10 as we go ahead so that you can actually get your sleep and healthy and quality sleep for that matter. So sleep early, but that means eat. All right, so that is intermittent fast. We have a water fast. Most of us perform this water fast during the weekends. When you're doing a 48-hour fast, you're simply rehydrating with water and salt. That is a water fast. Very easy. And this is a prolonged one. Even if you're doing an intermittent fast, you can actually combine that with the water fast because when you're doing intermittent fasting, the times that you're not eating, get with salt and water. Every time. Protect those kidneys, protect your system. Sometimes use coffee, sugarless black coffee. Don't go for what you call bulletproof coffee. That is calories. Go for sugarless black coffee. Did you know that actually coffee activates autophagy? Coffee activates autophagy. So coffee activates you starting to clean up the cells. So when you're fasting, sugarless black coffee should keep you moving. But before you do that coffee, because there are people who complain, when I do coffee, I have palpitations. Therefore, we advise you take a glass of water plus salt before your coffee. That does away with the palpitations. There's somebody who told you that coffee will leach out magnesium in the system. Now listen, our diets are rich in magnesium. We are enjoying magnesium in our diets, therefore coffee should never be a problem. Enjoy your coffee, but sugarless and black. The problem is, you know very well you don't love coffee, you love sugar in coffee, you love honey in coffee. And honey is just sugar. So you're addicted to sugar, but you use coffee as a carrier of that sugar. Therefore, unlearn. The word is sugarless black coffee. Don't tell me I'll put in some cream, I'll put in some milk. Milk in coffee, that is calories. And we said milk is lactose. Lactose is sugar, or galactose. Galactose is sugar. So avoid sugars when you're fasting, okay? There's another one called time restricted eating. This is where you have about 4 hours of eating or 2 hours of eating. Then the other times in the 24-hour cycle, you're fasting. So for example, if you eat at a gap of 4 hours, you have 20 hours of fasting. So you eat at a specific time, and then you give yourself a long period of fasting so that you just have specific times when you eat. And after that period of eating is done, you're done. Good. There's another one called the religious fast. And what is this religious fast? Basically means you're fasting with an intention to attain specific religious goals. So you're fasting with an intention to clean up your soul and to clean up your spirit. And by the way, when you're doing a prolonged fast, it goes beyond just fasting for losing weight or fasting for health goals. It goes into deeper aspects of it. It cleans your soul, cleans your spirit, so that all these emotions, all this anger are done away with. This is one of the reasons why I tell you guys, when you're fasting and when you are fasting and I see somebody commenting on my posts in a way that does not please God, I normally tell them, please start fasting so that you can actually drop your estrogen, because fasting stabilizes your hormones. Fasting does away with emotions. But I put up a post that actually rubbed a lot of people's shoulders, and I realized fasting does not teach people any lesson. People just fasting for the sake of it. They just want to go through the process and that's it. Okay, so that they can be seen they're the better Muslims or they're the better Christians. Oh, I fasted. That is a mistake. Because fasting is supposed to teach you lessons. That's why you're supposed to be deeper in prayer, deeper in meditation during fasting. Read the Quran, read the Bible, read books during fasting because your mental clarity is super high. But I put up a post saying, at the end of this fast, we will still have fat people. We will still have people with diabetes. We still have people with arthritis and chronic conditions. Why? Because people don't fast for any reason but just go through the process. I know friends of mine who said, this time I'm fasting with Muslims. I tell them, congratulations. Day one. The guy at 10 is yawning like a mongoose. Hey, I'm like, bro, what's happening? You with Muslims? The guy is yawning like crazy. Day two is like, see, I can take water. Dr. Lewis, you said we can take water. I don't have to do it like Muslims, right? I can rehydrate. I'm like, but you said you're joining the Muslims. What happened? Kidogo, mimi fasting. Hiyo hata mimi Mungu anajua siwezi. I can't. I'm like, never ever try to do these things when you can't. Don't even force yourself to do it because identity crisis. It has to start from inside you. Okay, it has to start from deep within you, not outside. Don't just look at people doing it and you decide, you know what, I have to do it as Muslim brothers do it. No. It has to have a deeper meaning. It has to actually make sense to you. So you must think about it, internalize it before you do it. So when you just say, acha ni fast kama wale. Kama wale. That's actually the wrong idea of fasting. You don't even have a goal. So you must have a goal before you do these things. Okay? Amazing.